Our first date felt perfect until she quietly said 6 words that changed everything. I have 2 kids. As a single dad myself, I had a choice to make: walk away like others had, or face a truth that would completely transform our lives. What happened next wasn't easy, but it changed what I believe about love, family, and second chances forever. Before we dive into this incredible story, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. Our first date went great until she mentioned her 2 kids. I'm a single dad. And every decision I make starts and ends with my daughter. Dating, for me, isn't about sparks alone. It's about safety, stability, and honesty. So when I agreed to go on my first date in 3 years, my heart was hopeful but guarded. Her name was Amina, and from the moment she smiled at me across the cafe table, something felt easy. We talked about books, bad coffee, and how life rarely turns out the way we plan. I laughed more in those 2 hours than I had in months. For the first time in a long while, I felt like more than just a responsible father. I felt like a man again. Then, somewhere between dessert and the bill, she took a slow breath. "There's something I should tell you," she said softly. I recognized that tone instantly, the one that carries fear and courage at the same time. I have 2 kids. For a second, the world went quiet, not because I judged her, but because I understood her fear so deeply it hurt. I'm a single dad too, and I know how that sentence can change everything. I saw her brace herself, ready for disappointment, ready for rejection, ready to be politely tolerated and quietly dismissed. Pain flickered in her eyes, the kind that comes from past goodbyes that never needed to happen. I swallowed, my chest tight with memory of my own first confessions to strangers who never called back. "I have a daughter," I said gently. Her eyes widened, then softened, and in that moment of shared shock, something shifted between us. We weren't 2 people on a date anymore. We were 2 survivors comparing scars. She told me about late nights, school lunches, and how guilt follows single parents like a shadow. I told her about bedtime stories, small hands of mine, and the quiet strength parenting demands. We didn't rush. We didn't pretend it was easy. We acknowledged the work. Immeasurable, exhausting, beautiful work. Love that shows up even when you're tired. Understanding that grows when life hurts you both. When the night ended, there was no dramatic kiss. Just a long, sincere look and a promise to be honest. Weeks turned into months. Our kids met slowly, carefully, like fragile glass being placed on a steady table. We learned patience. We learned kindness. We learned that love isn't loud, it's consistent. Today, our home is full. Not perfect, but warm. And every night, when I see our children laughing together, I'm grateful for that moment of fear we chose not to run from. Moral: sometimes the truth feels risky, but honesty attracts the right hearts. When you meet someone who understands your pain, love doesn't divide, it multiplies. And yet, our story didn't suddenly become easy just because our hearts were aligned. Love, I learned, doesn't erase struggle. It gives you a reason to face it. There were mornings when 4 kids meant 4 different emotions before breakfast. There were nights when Amina and I sat in silence, exhausted, wondering if we were strong enough for this life we were building. Sometimes our past knocked loudly on the door. Her fears of being left again. My fear of failing the people who trusted me most. We argued about small things that were never really small. Money, time, how much energy love demands when you're already tired. But every time doubt crept in, one of the kids would reach for a hand or laugh at something completely unimportant. And the house would remind us why we chose this path. One evening, after a particularly hard day, Amina sat beside me on the floor. "I'm scared," she admitted. Not dramatically, not weakly, just honestly. I didn't rush to fix it. I didn't offer empty promises. I simply stayed. Sometimes love is not about answers. It's about presence. I realized then that what we were building wasn't just a relationship. It was a lesson in patience for our children, a lesson in forgiveness for ourselves, a quiet example that broken beginnings can still lead to beautiful futures. We kept choosing each other on ordinary days, on heavy days, on days when the past felt louder than hope. And slowly, almost without noticing, our hard time became a shared strength, not because life softened, but because we did. Softening didn't mean giving up our boundaries. It meant learning how to listen without defending ourselves. It meant apologizing in front of the kids when we were wrong. It meant showing them that love can be steady even when emotions shake. One afternoon, my daughter climbed into my lap while I was folding laundry. "Are we okay now?" she asked, her voice small but brave. I realize in how much children feel, even when they say little. I kissed her hair and told her the truth. "We're learning," I said. That night, Amina told me her son had asked the same question. 2 different homes. Same fear, same hope. So we made a quiet promise to each other. No pretending, no rushing, just showing up every day with sincerity. We created routines that felt safe. Friday movie nights, Sunday morning pancakes, tiny traditions that slowly stitched us together. Some days, the weight of responsibility still pressed hard on my chest. But now, when it did, I wasn't carrying it alone. Amina understood the invisible labor of love, the mental lists, the constant worry, the strength it takes to keep choosing kindness. And when she was overwhelmed, I learned to step forward instead of stepping back, to hold space, to hold her hand, to remind her that struggling didn't mean failing. We were becoming something stronger than 2 tired adults trying again. We were becoming a team. And the children noticed before we did. They started calling each other siblings without being told. They defended one another on the playground. They laughed louder, slept easier, trusted deeper. Watching that, I felt something heal inside me that I hadn't known was broken. Not all wounds ask for attention. Some wait quietly for love to prove it's safe. And little by little, day by day, that's exactly what we were doing. One evening, after the children had fallen asleep, the house was finally quiet. Not the lonely kind of quiet I once feared, but the peaceful kind that comes from a full day lived with care. Amina sat beside me, her head resting on my shoulder. "We did this," she whispered. "Not perfectly, not without pain, but with intention." I looked around at the small signs of our shared life. School bags by the door, drawings on the fridge, a half-folded blanket on the couch. This wasn't the life either of us had planned, but it was the life we had chosen. I realized then that love isn't found in flawless beginnings or effortless romance. Love is built in honesty that feels risky, in patience when walking away would be easier, in choosing understanding over fear again and again. We didn't save each other. We stood beside each other while healing ourselves. And in doing so, we taught our children something far greater than words ever could. That broken chapters don't mean broken people. That families are formed by commitment, not perfection. That kindness has the power to turn hard times into shared strength. Moral: never judge someone by the weight they carry. When 2 honest hearts meet with empathy and courage, love doesn't just survive. It grows, and it changes everyone it touches. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it touched your heart, please share it, leave a comment below, and remind someone of this simple truth. You are never alone.